All right, y'all, welcome back. Part 2 of the rear airbags on this 2016 GMC regular cab. I got the gas tank crossmember mocked all up in the first video. Y'all saw it. I actually am currently uploading it right now, so by the time this video gets done, it'll have been on there for a while. First, we have got to get these hangers cut off, and as you can tell, they are welded literally all the way around, and they wrap under the bottom of the frame. And all that's got to come off on both sides. So first thing I'm going to do is get the wire wheel and get it cleaned up as best I can. I don't know how I'm going to get in there with the wire wheel, but we'll figure it out. I got to get those off. The rear end also has to come out because the link bar is going to be under the frame. And as you can tell, that's where the shock mount is. So we're going to pull this axle out. We'll cut everything off of it, slick it up good. I hate that part. It's always messy. It always takes forever, but it's necessary to get a good finished product. So yeah, let's just jump right in and get dirty, because that's what's gonna happen today. It's about 9 o'clock on a Friday morning, and I will be filthy by lunch. Whew. Go take a bath and come back out and keep working after lunch. So, well, an hour later, I've got this side stripped. It's a pretty good job. So I got a bunch of the undercoating off. I didn't get it all off, but I got this loose. I took the plasma originally and then come back with a cut-off wheel, a hammer, chisel, flap disc, a bunch of cussing. We got it off done. I want to do this side first. I'm going to show you on the other side how I'm going to get it off. Right here, I cut into some gouges in the frame, and right here with the plasma. I'm going to weld those up and then grind it back smooth. And I'm going to do that before I start on the other side. And I'll be back to show you. You spend a little bit of time, make it look a little better. That's just part of getting it off of there, man. There's a weld all the way around this bracket. You just cut right on the inside of the weld, get the piece of metal off, and then grind the weld down. That's the fastest and easiest way I've found. We also done under the bottom too, because we got to get up under there and put a bracket on. So wire wheeled it. Took my brake clean on my rag, got it as good as I could, and yeah, it's been fun. Whew. Ain't nothing about this job fun. Let me just go ahead and throw that out there. All right, so got this thing all smoothed back out. Got a couple little spots. It ain't perfect, but it's under the bed and paint will cover it up. And I may end up going back and welding it again. I've already welded this one twice and it keeps popping out. I guess there's some undercoating in the hole. Every time I strike an arc, it bubbles it up. But anyway, we took a DA, some 80 grit, knocked it down, got it really smooth. I wish I could feel that right there. It's like super slick. Not so much right here where I gouged it up with a grinder, but over here feels really good. And I could probably keep going with this, but it's not vitally important. If it was, this thing would have come out from under the truck and got sandblasted before I ever started. So, but I'm gonna show you how we do the other side, step by step, or best I can. First things first, this exhaust has got to go. It's gonna drag it around anyway, so we're just gonna lob it off back there with the Sawzall. And he said he would get it rerun when he got the truck back, so I'm gonna do that. And then I will come back. All right, first thing we did, we came in with a wire wheel. We knocked off some of that undercoating just to help the plasma cut it better. I can't really get in here on this side, but we're still gonna get it cut. So I'm gonna cut that off. That's off now. We're gonna come back, we're gonna cut right on the inside of these welds and see if we can get all this cut loose. Oh, all right, so let me show you all this. I got them all cut and I started peeling them away. They're falling off. I just want to show you before I knocked them all off. But all you gotta do is cut right on the inside of that weld, and then the metal that's left will fall off, and then you come back and grind this weld down. So up here, I may have to cut a little more, but for the most part, it looks like it's broke loose. You can just get the pry bar right in up under there and pop it up. We're gonna get these off, wire weld out a little bit and get some of that grease and junk off of there, and then we'll come back and grind down our welds. All right, we got them all off. I had to cut a little bit more right in there, but other than that, it just popped right off. Before I start grinding this, because this undercoating, it'll get on your flat disc and just smear, and then your flat disc won't hardly work. So we're gonna come in with the wire wheel, clean this up good, and get some brake cleaner and a rag, get as much of it off as we can, and then start grinding. I'm fixing to have to go to the parts store because I'm out of brake cleaner. I got a little bit more left in that can, and I also have to buy car tags. I forgot to get those yesterday on my birthday, so I got to go spend a couple $100 with the government so that I can legally drive something I already bought. It's ridiculous, taxes. All right, so I got the brackets cut off. I got a couple spots here to weld up. I went ahead while I was at it, took the wire wheel, knocked a bunch of that undercoating off the top and the bottom of the frame. I got the bottom of this bracket cut off, ground down. I got to go get some more brake clean. That looks terrible, but you put a fresh brake clean on it, take a rag, it'll all wipe right off. But first, I'm going inside to take a bath because I'm not going to town like this. I've got undercoating in places there should not be undercoating, and it's only 12:15 in the, just after lunch. So it's gonna be a fun day. Yay! All right, so went and got me a shower, got cleaned up, went and picked up my kid from school, stopped at O'Reilly's, got some 4 more cans of brake cleaner. That ought to get me through the project, hopefully. Got the frame wiped back down whenever I got back. I showed you the clip a minute ago how bad it looked. That is literally spraying it on a rag, spraying it onto the frame, and wiping it off. Bottom of the frame also. So I'm gonna DA this side like I did the other side, make a match, and wipe it down one more time, and we're gonna go on to the next project. All right, so I got this done. I think I've made the decision next. I want to go ahead and pull the rear end out and get everything cut off it, because it's gonna be another dirty job, and I want to go ahead and get that part of it done. And I need these brackets out of the way so that when I get ready to mock up the lower bars, that I can do it and have a clean axle tube. So next we're gonna pull this out. I gotta take the drive shaft loose. I'm not going to take the brake lines loose. I'm gonna take the calipers loose, lay them up to the side, both sides, take the lines loose from the housing, and I'll drop the housing out and leave the brakes hooked up. That way I don't have to bleed the brakes. We're not narrowing the rear end on this one, so I don't have to really worry about that. I've already cut the e-brakes off, but I would like to remove this stuff just so it's not hanging out there and looking cut off. So we'll get that removed too while we got this stuff off. So we're gonna, like I say, we'll take the brakes off, get this drum out of the way. We'll get all that e-brake stuff out of the way. So I'm gonna get this snatched out, roll one of these fab tables under it, cut it loose, let it drop down, and roll it out, and that way we can get to work. All right, rear end's out. We didn't take the brakes loose, we showed you that. So they're still hooked up. I did pull the rotor off this side to look at the e-brake stuff. Here, the pieces I had welded, it was easier for me to just come through the notch with a cut-off wheel, cut it off, and then now that I got the plasma out and the grinders and all that, I'll get it off. So we're gonna cut these off, get this off, and cut these mounts off. So we'll have a completely smooth axle tube, except we're gonna leave these shock relocation brackets because the kit that we're installing does come with lower shock mounts that weld to the rear, and it's 2 tabs. They're non-adjustable. These are adjustable up and down. So we're gonna leave those. I think it's a better option for what we're doing. That way we can fine tune in the ride height. And yeah, I just think it's gonna work better. So I'm gonna get to cutting. It's gonna take a while. So bear with me, I'll be back. We'll hopefully have this thing ground down some. I really wish that I would have put it just on jack stands because it's kind of high, but we'll work with it. All right, quick update. We got this stuff cut off the rear end. I haven't done this side yet. We just cut it off with the plasma, a bunch of slag and junk. Got this side ground down pretty smooth. We got a couple little gouges right here that we did with the plasma. We're gonna weld those up, just hit them, spot weld them up, get that smooth back out. Damn, that was hot on my finger. Because we want this tube slick. We'll grind it all the way up to here, and then come back, make sure that everything's good to weld. Do this side, like I said a while ago, we're gonna leave these brackets on. We'll clean them up. We got a couple little ditty balls here and there, but not bad. And I'm gonna leave these here for the brake lines. Oh well, there's only one on this side. There's not one on this other side. It was actually, I think it was on the side of the shock mount. So, oops. But shock mount had to go because that's where the lower link bar is gonna attach. But I'm gonna get the top of this one ground and then flip it over and grind these off, and then be ready to go back under the truck. Also, I didn't show it, but I took measurements from some chassis points to the front of the rear end housing. So it was here to this was 18 1/8, and from there to here was 34 3/8. I done the same on the other side. The measurements were actually a little different. They weren't the exact same. I think over there on the other side, this one was 18 even, and this one was like 34 1/16 or something like that. So that side was actually a little bit farther forward. We're gonna make them match because I know these are welded in the same place, all four of them. We're gonna make them match when we put it under there. I'm gonna match it to the driver's side because I like the way it fit in the fender well better. So just wanna make a note of that too. I didn't cover that earlier in the video. Also, I'm gonna take all this parking brake stuff out of here. If I can get it out without having to pull the axles, I'm pretty sure we can, but because we don't want that coming loose and rattling. I've actually had that happen on my pink truck. There's a little catch right here where the line comes in on the backside, and it fell down and was rolling around inside the brake rotor while I was in Daytona, and I had to go to Harbor Freight because I didn't take any tools with me like a dummy. I went to Harbor Freight, bought a floor jack and all the tools to take it apart, only to find out that that's what it was. I thought I had a wheel bearing going bad. So luckily that's all it was. About to go take bad number 2. Alright, what seems like a literal eternity later, we finally have 2 smoothish axle tubes. Got all the brackets cut off, everything ground down. Got a couple of spots over here. We just flipped the rear and back over. I didn't hit them, but I'm gonna shine them down because the upper bar mounts are gonna go right in here. But it ain't fun and it ain't glorious, but it's got to be done. And if you don't like getting dirty, pay somebody else to do this job, because I took 3 showers yesterday and I need one now. Between cutting those hangers off and cutting all this stuff off this rear end, it's fun. But we got everything off. Got the truck picked back up in there. We're about to roll this under there, start getting it squared back under it. I'm going to try to do it up in the air. I think it might be easier to get to everything. And I've also got plenty of room here to hang the tabs off the bottom. So we're going to do that. See how it works. We'll let you know. Alright, so me and KK just spent the last 20 minutes trying to get this thing squared under here. This table is a little flimsy, but it's working. It's a Harbor Freight table that we added wheels to. And the wheels obviously don't like the weight of this rear end. But we got it. So we want to measure and make it the same on both sides. So we got a piece of flat metal here. We'll go off the hub, and we're going to go off the factory frame, not the notch, because they might be inconsistent. So we've got 12 7/16 right there. And then before I took it apart, I marked my measurement right here, which was 18 1/8 from the front of the rear end. To see right there, it's moved a little bit. We're 1/16 off. It needs to come forward just about a 1/16 of an inch. And then we're going to do the other side. The other side, the measurements were different when I took it apart. It was 18 even. This side was 18 1/8, but I like the way this wheel looked better in the wheel well, so we made the other side match. It'll work if this tape measure will cooperate with me there. That is 12. It's actually 12 and a half now. The other side is 12 7/16. That's a 16th. We can't really split that with a regular average tape measure. So that's pretty well where it's going to be, and then from there to there is 18 1/8. So I'm going to probably tack it to the frame again like I had before and start putting parts in. That way it won't move. So get as close as we can get it. Alright, we got the box out of the truck from NFamus that comes with everything else with the 3-link. We've got our lower hangers. These are going to go under the frame where your lower bar hooks to it. If you're not running the raised gas tank cross member from them, they include 2 front flat tabs that you would use to mount the front of the wishbone to whatever cross member you built. These are your lower tabs. They're really long. They also come with these box end plates, so when you get them welded on, you can weld these to the back side to brace it up a little bit. These are your upper tabs. They're a little shorter. You see the difference there. These are going to go for the wishbone. These are shock tabs for the rear, and these are the upper shock tabs. These are your gussets for these. These actually help you set the depth of where this needs to be. So we'll show you that when we get to that point. Shock bolts, bushings, and then the bolts for the for these, the end links and all. Yeah, that's a lot of little parts there. If you want to know why this stuff costs so much, because they have to cut all this stuff, and it's all 1/4 inch, drill it, bend it. There's a lot goes on with this stuff. So we're gonna get back over here, and I'm trying to get a hold of my buddy Dylan. He's got some of those mock-up aluminum bushings. Try to go get those from him. That way I don't have to put those rubber bushings in and then take them back out to paint it. So I'm gonna go see about that. Try that next. All right, so we went to Dillon's. We got some mock-up bushings. You can buy these from NFamus. Jason Thorbeck used to sell them. I don't think he does anymore. They said they were sold out a while ago, didn't they? Mm-hmm. We was gonna buy a set. Used to get them in a sleeve, I think, from Jason, but they are $12 a pair for 2 at NFamus. So if you bought a whole set, it would be 30, 40 bucks. Not too bad. 50 bucks maybe. We're just gonna borrow Dylan's stuff for right now because I don't have time to get set. So we got our front hanger mocked up. We got our rear axle purchase brackets, whatever you want to call it. And we're about to go stick this under the frame and put some zip ties around it and see if we can get it held up there so that we can get it centered. And we're going to set the mounting location for this front hanger. Sorry, I'm brain fart. I'm going to get this mocked up. I'll be back in just a second to show you. Alright, so we're getting this thing mocked up here. We got this back bracket held up here. It's a little off from the lower one. Move this hand right here for a second, bud. So you see where the bolt holes are here and here. I was a little concerned about that, but I looked on their install pictures on the internet, and theirs is the exact same way. So I'm assuming that's the way it's supposed to be. He did tell me that these tabs were straight up and down 90 degrees, and that would dictate where this goes. So we've got it flush on the back side. We just got a transmission jack holding it up here, and then this mount, we were just kind of looking at it. It goes just like this, somewhat. Where that'll close up where you can weld it, and you can weld it completely on the back side there. So plenty of welding, and then we got some gussets that's going to hold this front mount in. So and then we just got this rear held up with zip ties wrapped around, and we're going to go mock the other side up, make sure that the front hanger's in the same spot on both sides, and I may go ahead and tack weld this just so it can't fall down, and tack weld these, and then make the other side match perfectly. What you think? Yeah? All right, let's do it. You ready? All right, so these brackets are different. It's a little bit longer length. The longer one goes to the front, and it's gonna go somewhere along in there. And then this one goes right here. In their picture, it shows them welding it to this bed brace too. So that's probably what I'm gonna end up doing. So those two will be tacked up there to help brace this. If you've got this too far in, it's not gonna fit right. See right here? So you just slide it out till it bumps where it's supposed to be, and that's how you set the depth this way. If you go too far in on the driver's side, your bag is definitely going to hit the gas tank. So it's really tight. We're going to get this tacked up and go to the other side. Maybe. All right, we got that one mocked up. Boo's going to mock this arm up for us. What you doing?
Putting the bushings on this way.
Yep. Hanger. Bolt's going to come in from the outside, because once the gas tank's in, actually, when we put it all back together, the bolt's probably going to need to be on the inside so that it doesn't hit the gas tank. But we can mock it up for right now. It doesn't have a gas tank. It's over there in the floor, along with everything else in the shop in the floor. I need to clean up bad. All right, what are we doing at the back?
Bushings again. Hanger.
That's a tab.
Thing, whatever it's called. This guy.
What size are those bolts?
Was it a 1/2 inch?
Close, 9/16. You only missed it by 1/16 of an inch. But how long are they since you're used to that real life experience?
I don't know.
About 4. Oh, she didn't think my joke was funny. All right, you're gonna snug them up. So this is a 13/16 on that side, and that's a 7/8. No, that goes to the other side. There you go.
You sure?
I'm pretty sure.
No.
You wishing I'd have clamped that thing to the table now, ain't you?
A little bit, yeah.
Would you like for me to help you and do one side?
Maybe.
You got that on loosen. Come on, you got it.
Camera.
Why?
You make me nervous. I don't like
This
it.
is real life right here. All right, you ready? How far away are we? Oh, sorry.
Keep going.
Looks like we're snugging it up. Oh, too tight. No, it still moves. All right. Still move. Too
Like
tight.
that.
All right, we're gonna bump it backwards. Oh,
You're good.
there we go. Close enough. All right, do the same up here.
Whoa.
Use the box in, the closed in. Wow.
Hold on.
Let me turn this off. It's making her nervous. All right, we got the driver's side mocked up. I went ahead and tacked in these brackets, kind of showing you how they go. You could put it up against this, but I want to be able to get in here and weld the back side of it, so I just moved it over a little bit. And it's right above the bolt hole, so feeling like that's about the most support you're going to be able to get out of that little gusset. And we got the rear ones tacked several places all the way around so it can't come loose. And the way that I got my measurements to make sure they were exact same, I came off the front edge of this bed bolt stand right here and measured to here. And I also went off the body mount to here and made sure they matched on each side. My measurement from here to the corner of this was 5 5/16 on both sides. So if you want an easy way to figure out that measurement, I can tell you though, that bracket is almost on the ground. It is just above the ground. So remember that whenever you're out there dragging the piss out of your truck, that's pretty close. So, but all in all, super nice kit. So we got plenty of room in here for the bag bracket. I like it. All right, I'm looking at these bag brackets, and all the pictures on their website show it right up next to this tube. But every one of the trucks in the pictures is a crew cab. So this one is a regular cab. You can see how bad off the bolt holes are. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this rear gusset right here off and slide this thing back to where it is centered over the lower bar holes, somewhere around in there. I'm just gonna cut that off and then weld it out, and it should be perfectly fine because this thing gets welded literally all the way around. It ain't never gonna go nowhere. So that extra little bit of support right there would have been nice, but you know, at the end of the day, it is what it is. I could grind this down flat, weld it solid, but it's never gonna go anywhere. So we're gonna make the executive decision to trim that and get it tacked up here in just a minute. All right, so here we go. We got it centered over the bolt holes. On the camera, it doesn't look centered though, but it is, I promise. So we got it centered over them. We just trimmed that little piece off right there and got it tacked on. The bags that we're gonna be running are not here yet. I got some Firestones in there. I'm gonna grab one real quick. It's a 2,600 pound, but I can use it to mock it up. And we're just gonna kind of see what it looks like. And we may end up moving this forward or backwards just a little bit, but I'm gonna grab that real quick and mock it up and just kind of see. Also, this kit comes with, when you unbox it, there's a couple really long 3/8 bolts in here. Those are to go through the lower link bar, so they go into your bag. So grab these Firestones off the shelf right here and get it mocked up. I'll show you in just a second. All right, we got it stuck in there. We just got the bolt started by hand. Got our stud sticking up on top. Get to our fitting. Fits great, looks good. Looks like it's gonna collapse perfect. It actually looks like it would clear the gas tank on the inside. But this is a Firestone 2,600 pound bag. I asked Keith about it and he said that he would just get a SS6, which is what we ordered for it, because it doesn't balloon at all. These, when you add air pressure to them, they're gonna get slightly bigger and starts rubbing the gas tank. I don't know if it will rub through the airbag first or the plastic gas tank, but I don't want to find out. So we're going to put the right stuff on there. So that looks good. We're going to get this pulled out, go do the other side real quick. And we're getting closer and closer with this thing. All right, I got both the bag brackets mocked up, tacked up, all that good stuff. When I was putting this bolt in, it was kind of going in at a little bit of an angle, which I didn't catch at a time. This, from the end of the flange over to this tab, I measured them out, but apparently I tacked it on the wrong side of the mark. So I've got to knock these loose. I got to move it over about 1/4 of an inch and tack it back up, because I do not want it in there crooked at any little bit, because when this customer gets ready to put some wide lips on the back and brings it back to narrow it, I don't want to have a clearance issue right here. I want it to be the exact same as the other side, because he's already asked me about putting some wide lips on it, and I want to make sure that we're not going to have clearance issues, and we also want this to be square because we want it to pick up the same. So I'm going to address that tomorrow, but I'm going to call it a night tonight. We're supposed to go on a date. It's raining, and you got to love it. It's rained every day since I bought this new truck. Must be bad luck. Who wants to buy it? Alright, sorry, I got the fans going. It's a little noisy. But I got the lower bars, all the brackets and everything's tacked on it, both sides. I've got to do the wishbone now, but the wishbone is going to hit this front bar, so I got to take the saws off and cut it out, both sides, get it out of the way. And also, when I tacked the rear end to the frame right here, I did not set my pinion angle. It is actually at 0 right now, so I need to bring it up to about 3 degrees. So I took the lower mock-up bushings out of the bars on the bottom and put the rubber bushings in. So they're in there installed with grease and everything. And then that way I can use the mock-up bushings on the upper wishbone and get it finalized in there when my pinion angle set right. Sorry, I sound like death. I've been sick for about 4 days now, and it's kicking my ass. But I'm gonna get this cut out and get this wishbone mocked up, and we'll be back. All right, in the last clip, I showed you that cross member that needed to be cut out between the notches. That turned into a whole ordeal. Ooh, I'm dirty. So started cutting through it with the sawzall. Got about halfway through the first side, and my blade kept catching like it was binding, so I went to the other side, started cutting it off. Ended up breaking my sawzall blade. Look everywhere. Last one, I'm out of sawzall blade. So I go over to get me a new cutoff wheel. Cut it with a grinder. Don't have any cutoff wheels. So, got to do something else. Pick my welder up. Turn my gas on. No gas. So, I had to go to town, buy a bottle of gas, some cutoff wheels, and some sawzall blades, which is a quick way to spend $200. So, I'm back, out, got it ground down, and gonna get this 3-link over here mocked up. When you buy this kit, it also comes with a cross member for your shocks. We're not going to use that because this truck already has one in it, so we're just going to put it in the corner. We'll save it for later. But I've got to come in here and grind some paint all the way over. I'm just going to grind all the way over to the pumpkin here. That way, wherever it lands on both sides, then it's good. It's bare metal. So I'm going to do that first, and then we'll come back and start laying out the 3-link. All right, so we got it tacked up, mocked up, cycled, checked everything. All looks good. These tabs are a little farther forward than what I would like, but that's the wishbone was pre-made, the cross member was pre-made, so that's the way we're going to install it. If the rear end was a little farther forward and those mounts were a little farther forward, then the rear end would be more centered in the notch. I didn't put this notch in, but long story short, if it was farther forward, the wheel wouldn't be centered in the fender well. So that's what I'm getting at. But we got it mocked up. It's going to work fine. We done cycled it 5 or 6 times, checked pinion angle, everything looks good. Right when the rear end bottoms out in the notch, this bar is touching the rear diff cover. I'm not sure what we're going to do about that. If I was putting that bar in myself, I would have put a slight V in it. But I know when this notch was done, airbags weren't in the plans, so stuff has to be changed and adjusted and whatnot. But all in all, looks good to me. And we got some stuff to clean up here where we had some brackets welded and all that good stuff. But you can see this underframe kit. You see how much room it leaves you to narrow the rear end to run them wide lip billets. So if you wanted to put a 12 wide on here, I don't think it would be any problem. So, but I'm gonna I'm gonna do a few more things right here, checking stuff and cycling stuff and mocking shocks up and just kind of see where we at. And just see what I need to do here about this cross member. I may not even need to do anything because it literally touches it the same time this bottoms out. So it's not ever gonna go any lower than that because it can't. But we'll figure it out. All right, so I made the decision. I'm gonna cut this cross member out, grind it up, move it back just a hair. I mean, it only needs an 1/8 of an inch. But if I don't do it and it causes something to happen to that differential, it looks to me like it's already been rubbing before because it's rusty and bare metal there. So I don't think this truck was getting that low before on bumps, but it could have been. It's either that or that's where the parking brake cable was hitting. I don't know. But anyway, regardless, I'm gonna cut this out real quick and move it and weld it back in. All right, so next up, we're just gonna deal with the shock situation. This thing already had the Street Performer Beltec shocks on it. They're drop shock. I called and got a extended and collapsed measurement for the Monroe shock that Keith recommended for this, and it is almost identical to this length right here. So we adjusted it to where we are fully collapsing the shock when it bottoms out in the notch, which is right here on the bottom of the bracket. I'm gonna check this side, just make sure it's the same. I've only done that side so far. I'm gonna put it on. We got to figure out something to do with this brake line bracket. We're probably gonna put it kind of back where it was. Seems to be the best spot for it. And then once the shocks are figured out, that is it for the link setup. That's completely mocked up. Then we have to do the tank and compressors and all that stuff, and the valve block. Everything's got to be mounted back here. So what I'm probably going to do is leave this cross member, come in and cut that off there, and then cut this cross member out, and that gives me plenty of room here to mount everything. So I don't know if I got to go back to work here in just a few minutes. I don't know if I'm going to get started on that today or in this video or not. I may do that in the next video. So we'll figure it out. But all in all, it's all mocked up. It all looks good. Pinion angles, great. I set it at ride height, which was about 4 inches above the notch. Like 4 inches higher than what it is now. 3 degrees up. And I'm going to check, once I pick it up, check the output on the transmission. These newer trucks seem to be a little lower. They seem to usually be around the 5 range. So I may put a transmission spacer shim in the back to get it up to -3. That way they're mirror opposites. So, but yeah, I'm very happy with the way this is coming out. And I'm gonna mock this other shock up real quick, and we'll figure out what our next move is. Are you ready? All right. So I had to go to work for a little while, and I'm back now. And while I was gone, I got a package from Ryan at Basic Wag Works. I messaged him and asked him if he could cut something for me, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I can do that, no problem." So he, let me see it. So he cut me a controller, because on this truck we're running Airlift 3P, the one that we're working on now, and I wanted a mount to mount to the dash to mount the controller to. So he whipped me one of those up real quick, put his logo in there, Basic Bag Works, and shipped that out to me. But he also showed me something else that he was working on for himself, and I said, "Hey, I need one of those." And I'm gonna turn this around and show y'all. I didn't need it for me, I needed it for KK, and she is a little excited. So check this out. He printed me a 3D Groot to go on her desk at work. You can put pins in it, change in it. She can drop a ring in there when she gets mad at me. And very, very highly detailed. I love it. And then he sent me a picture of another one. I was like, "Hey, I need that one too." So I like this little dude. Check him out. Rockstar Groot.
He's so freaking pretty.
He is highly detailed. Love it. So KK has a desk at her job that's littered with stuff that we have built and bought and everything else. So what's 2 more things? We're gonna get back to work. I appreciate you, Ryan. Now I got to get in there and figure out where to actually mount this at on the dash. Maybe his the customer's girlfriend doesn't think this means big, beautiful women.
Turn it upside down.
Big, beautiful men. That could be me. Alright, I'm gonna get back to work. Okay, so I got all this mocked up earlier today. Shocks, let's figure it out. Next, I need to remove this cross member. I'm gonna cut it out and this loose here, leave this cross member. I'm gonna unbolt this computer mount right here. It's kind of hard to see. It just bolts in. There's like 4 10mm to hold it in. I'm gonna unbolt it, set it to the side. We'll relocate it, we'll modify it, whatever we gotta do to get that back mounted under the truck. It's gonna have to be kind of over to this side somewhere. It may get mounted right here, but I know that plug will not reach. There's not a bunch of slack and there's a bunch of wires going in there, so we don't want to mount it anywhere where we got to extend the wires. So we're gonna have to think about that so we get to that point. But yeah, that's where we at. We're gonna start cutting again and get right back after it. So the customer bought a 7-gallon air tank from Reckless, and it comes with mounts to mount it inside the frame. And I just mocked them up, and you can't get it into the frame with both of them bolted on, so I got to unbolt one of them. I kind of figured that, but I wanted to try it anyway. It also came with a second mount here. If I can get all the paper and stuff off of it, I was not prepared for this. Comes with a second mount that welds to this like so, that has mounts for your compressor, your Stinger 80 right here, and it's got a bolt hole for a ground for your compressors on both sides. So we're definitely going to use that. That will simplify this entire install by a lot. So I'm gonna get this mocked up real quick. I just got done wire wheeling inside the frame, trying to get all that undercoating off. I'm fixing to go back with a rag now, wipe all that off on both sides. I went ahead and hit the top of the frame, and we'll get all that cleaned up real quick, and we'll get this thing mocked up, show you what it looks like. That's pretty slick though. I've never used Reckless 7-gallon tank, and I really like the simplicity of this and how that's going to make my job that much easier. So 2 points for Reckless. Good job, y'all. All right, got this guy mocked up. I just pulled it all the way to the top of the frame, get this tank as high as I could get it without hopefully dragging the ground. I left me a little bit of room right here to get a plug in that port, because if I try to use that port, I'm gonna have to notch the cross member, which is no big deal. I can notch it. But I measured from the back of the frame forward, it was like 10 3/4 to this tab, and I just replicated it on the other side, made me a mark, tacked it on. Wham bam, thank you ma'am. I'm gonna get this air compressor mount, get it out, get it tacked on, see if I can get it centered, and tack it, mock that up, and yeah, I really like them mounts right there. That's pretty slick. So I'll have to keep that in the memory bank for future projects. All right, so customer bought these compressors, these Fire 444s from Reckless, and normally when you buy compressors, they come in a black box that's printed up with the picture of the compressors, and when you take them out, there's styrofoam around them, and they've got your filters, your mounting bolts, your pressure switch, and all in there. These came in a brown box that said Fire 444 on the inside. They were wrapped up in plastic, but no styrofoam, with shipping paper stuffed around them, with no mounting bolts and no pressure switch. So I don't know if Reckless unboxes them and takes the pressure switch and the mounting bolts out so they can sell them separate, or what the deal is. But I don't think I've ever bought Fire compressors that didn't come with mounting bolts. So this is the first one for me. Now me and the kiddos got to get in the truck and go to town and try to find bolts.
Well, we're getting something to eat, so
yeah, and grab some food. But we got to try to find mounting bolts to mount the compressors, and it's a small bolt that's kind of long. So wish us luck.
Yeah, good luck.
All right, so we went to town. We found some screws that will work. Not those, there, those. We ended up with a 10 by 24 by 1 inch long screw, and those work perfect. So I only put 2 in because we got to pull it all back apart, weld it, paint it, so I didn't see a point in putting 4 in it. So we stuck 2 in each one just so we could mock it up. We got our relay in there. They've also, like I showed you earlier, they've got a hole here for your ground for your compressor, and then your positive is going to run over here to one side of this relay. Super simple. The only thing that we do not already have a mount for is the airlift valve block. I just pulled it out of the box. It's very, very simple to mount it. It's just a rectangle with 2 holes in it. So we're just going to cut a basic plate the same size as this. And then we'll cut it out of, I got some 1/8 inch, so that's probably, you know, I know that's more than enough. So that's probably what we're going to make it out of. And then we're going to figure out where we're going to mount it at. I kind of want to mount it here or between the 2 head of the compressors there. That may be a better option because the bed's going to have a hole in it and you would be able to get to it if something were to happen. But if it's there, you can also see it through the bed, which means you're going to have the air lines running off of it. So I don't know. We'll weigh our options on that and figure out what we're going to do. Also, the directions that come with this also have a template for it, so it makes it even easier to build a bracket to mount it to. So normally I buy one. You know, just you can buy them on eBay or whatever for super cheap, but well, I forgot. So there's that. All right, so we got our bracket cut. I'm not gonna move it because I got it fairly lined up there. Next, to mark the holes, instead of cutting that template out, I'm just gonna use these transfer punches. You can get these, this is Harbor Freight brand, super cheap. You just find the one that fits the hole tight, stick it down in there, hit it with a hammer, bam, do the other side, drill your holes, and that's it. It's that simple. So I'm gonna get these punched, drilled, and figure out where we're gonna mount this thing at. So I just cut it with a cutoff wheel, super simple. Drew my lines out, rounded my corners up a little bit, knocked this rust off both sides. I didn't see a point showing you. It's a grinder and a cutoff wheel and a flat disc. Y'all got it. Y'all know how to do it. All right, so I got to build a bracket to mount the little plate that we just made for the valve block. And I was digging around over on my shelf, just kind of seeing what I had. And I found these brackets. And when I was building my Sierra, I bought a set of those hood strut, one of those hood strut kits. And it's a nice kit. But my tire is above the top of the fender and touching the bottom of the hood. So these didn't work. So I cut part of them all up and made it work, where they actually bolt to the top of the fender lip and are supported by the inner fenders, not that brace. So I just looked at it kind of rough, and I was like, I think I can make that work. So I'm finna start hacking these up, see if I can make them work. The Portaband, I'm gonna just cut it off right here and cut this ear off and see if I can build me a nice little bracket. And I will show you what I've got in my head in just a minute, and it should save me a fair amount of time, and I can recycle something that I already had. Alright, so I got my little brackets here ground up, cut down to where I needed them. Got my plate that we made a while ago. If you notice, my holes aren't exactly centered. Oops. So I came in, this is 7 inches. I marked it 3.5. I need these 5 inches apart so that they clear the relay, but are narrow enough that you can still get the filters on the air compressor. So that's important. So what I did, I came over from the center line 2.5 both ways. That's going to put them dead on 5. These things have got a curve in them the way they were made, so I kept that. And I'm just going to lay them up here like so and so. Tack weld them up, go test fit it, make sure it is what I want, and I've got to figure out how I'm going to get the square on that little piece of metal, but we'll figure it out. We'll come out in just a second and show you what it looks like all tacked together. I got to drag all this stuff out and see you in a second. So we got our brackets tacked on, and this is what we're going for. It's going to weld something like that. It's going to put our valve block right out here in the open. We're going to run all our lines out the backside. That way, when you see it through the hole, all you'll see is the valve block. You won't see all the lines running everywhere. Being that this truck's only going to be bagged in the back, we're only going to have 2 lines going out to the airbags. And then we're going to have 1 or 2 going in to the valve block. I think it's just 1 on the airlift. But anyway, this is what we're going for, and we got enough room here to put the filters on. And then if you need to change the filters, you can get them off, or you may have to take a couple bolts out. But
no big deal.
Yeah, it ain't no big deal. So I'm gonna weld this out, and I'm gonna have to let it cool a bunch because it's gonna get hot, and then we'll tack it on before the night's over with, and I'll show you what it looks like, and we'll go from there. All right, we got a few welds through on that, both sides. I'm gonna let that cool off for a little bit, get this tacked on, and once I get it tacked on, I will show y'all what it turned out like. This thing was sitting up on the back of here yesterday, and I bumped it off and broke the leader hose. So I had to order my leader hose, got it on the way. So it should be here in a couple days. And I'm trying to think of anything else. I think that's about it for the fab work. But let me get that tacked on, I'll show you what it looks like, and we'll probably close this video on out. Well, I tacked that bracket on and was like, yep, I'm done for the night, and left, turned the lights off, and then realized I forgot to film you on outro. We got this bracket tacked on. The air filters fit, looks good. The airlift controller, there's nothing on the back side, so we don't have to worry about anything getting into the rear end. Everything's on this side, and we got it welded out. Everything's good, and that is it for the fab work. The only thing that I have left that I know that I have to do is I have to mount this ECM here that's on the back. I'm probably going to mount it. Oh, got the new airbags in today. Probably going to mount it right here to the frame. That way I know that the harness will be long enough, and I also have to weld this bracket back on. I'm just going to put it back where it was. It worked, and that'll be done. I just have to go through tomorrow and spend a few hours welding everything out. I enjoy welding, but I don't enjoy welding in bulk like that, to be honest. So it'll probably take me a little while. I'll weld for about 10 minutes, and then I'm going to stop because it's hot, and you can't weld with the fans blowing on you or to blow all the gas away. So.
Yeah, especially not when you're welding.
I wish you would learn how to weld so you can weld all this stuff for me.
But that junk hurts.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're going to get out of here. We'll come back with part 3. We got to wire it, plumb it, paint it, do all the non-fun stuff. We have to cut the hole in the bed bigger. We got to stand it up, cut some cross members. Yeah, we still got a bunch of stuff to do. It's not over with yet. We also have to go find some more bolts. Got to find the bolts to bolt the airlift valve block down, because apparently it now comes with sheet metal screws to hold it down. Yes, really. Yeah, I'm not using sheet metal screws to hold a probably $500 valve block down. I just ain't gonna do it. That. So we're gonna get some bolts to fit it tomorrow, and I also have to figure out my fitting situation because this is a odd air tank, and 2 of the main ports on it. One is right up against this cross member, and the other one is right up against this cross member. I may have to come in and notch this one out. I know there's 2 more ports up under, one on each side, and there's also a drain port on the bottom. I may have to do some tees and some finagling, but we're going to get it plumbed in. Oh, and I also have to put a water trap somewhere between the tank and the valve block. So I got to get that figured out too. Appreciate y'all watching. Send it to all your friends. If you're not subbed, please hit the sub button. It doesn't cost anything. Yeah. And we're just trying to grow this thing a little bigger. Even if you never ever come back and watch another video, just hit that sub button. And that will give you the option for us to pop up, and you may want to watch another video. Hopefully one day we'll do something cool that you want to watch.
He's funny sometimes. Yeah.
Sometimes. Not funny, ha ha, funny.
What the heck?
Funny choir. Oh, let's get out of here. All right, appreciate y'all watching. See you on the next one. Scratch that. She said she was going to do it.
Oh, yeah. Bye. Bye.